Greetings, Astro Geeks, and welcome to another installment of Live Sky Astronomy, proudly brought to you by the Gravity Discovery Centre Observatory here in beautiful sunny Gingin. So we are now live broadcasting from the GDC Observatory, and we're doing another test of our solar telescope rig that we're taking up to Exmouth for the total solar eclipse. So joining me today, over off camera over here, is Mitch. So he's steering the ship today, and that leaves me free to gesticulate wildly and tell you all about the sun, because that's what we're looking at. So I've got two telescopes, so we might switch cameras, and here we go. So we've got this is the telescope rig that we're taking up with us to Exmouth. So the telescope on the left-hand side, the white telescope, is the William Optics refractor. So it's a William Optics FLT 110 triplet refractor that can also be used at night time to image galaxies and quasars, or not quasars, but galaxies and nebulae and all sorts of things. But we've got a special solar filter on the front, so that's going to provide us our white light image. The little gold telescope on the right hand side, that is the Coronado telescope. Now that's going to provide us with the really detailed, intricate images of the solar corona, chromosphere. I've got to get my terminology right, so that's why I'm practicing. So the chromosphere is the upper level of just above the photosphere, the sun's surface, and that gives us these amazing detailed images of the dynamic surface or upper layer atmosphere of the sun. So we'll be switching between cameras today, but also during the eclipse we're going to be switching between cameras as the moon is starting to obscure the solar disk. But when it comes to totality, we'll be switching to the William Optics telescope and removing the white light filter so we can actually observe the solar corona. And that's what we're all there for, really, and also to stand underneath the shadow of the moon. But both telescopes are running ZWO cameras. The William Optics has got a 294 MC Pro camera, which means it's color, and on the other one is a 183 monochrome camera, so it's black and white, but we've got this nifty little feature that actually allows us to color it like the sun, so it looks really nice. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick look at, what are we looking at, the H-alpha? Oh, we're looking at white light. Thanks, Mitch. So that's cool. So we're looking at the white light through the William Optics, and of course, we can still see a few sunspots on the surface. I'm just going to shuffle over here and have a quick eyeball at the sun's surface. There we go. Alrighty. So we have got a whole bunch of sunspots going on right now. There we go, fantastic. So off to the very, very right-hand side, we have a sunspot which is departing, is actually moving away from us and going around this other side of the sun, is sunspot 3234, which was responsible for a whole bunch of aurora that happened back on the 27th of February. Now, this kicked off a major solar storm, and essentially the sun had a giant sneeze, really, and threw off this solar material, which then came flying towards us, as in planet Earth, and interacted with our magnetosphere, our magnetic field surrounding our planet. It caused those charged particles to spiral down through the polar cusps at the north and south poles, and those charged particles interacted with our upper level atmosphere and produced this absolute spectacular light show, which was incredible to say the least. Now, from here in Perth in Western Australia, of course, a number of people from Perth actually managed to photograph it and image it, which was brilliant. Even people as far north as Llanstellan claimed they saw it, but it was down in the Great Southern of Western Australia that it really put on a show. And there's some spectacular images that actually came out of that. So I'm kind of kicking myself because I didn't go out. I was stuck behind a computer catching up on some work, and my colleague Andrew Lockwood was just as taken up with his time as well, that the very next day when we heard the reports of the fantastic aurora that came in, we were both kicking ourselves. But there's always next time, to say the least. Now, we've got this image here from spaceweather.com, and this is in ultraviolet. Yeah, this is in ultraviolet, sort of a bluish sun, and of course, again, from the same spot as that sunspot I described earlier, there's that big bright flare because it kicked off another massive eruption just a couple of days ago. Now, unfortunately for us, it happened on the 2nd or the 3rd? 3rd. So back on the 3rd, it kicked off another solar flare, but unfortunately, because it's moving away from us, it's going to miss us. It's going to not interact with us, which is a bit of a disappointment. But we do have a bit of a promise from directly opposite on the other side, on the left-hand side of the sun, of another sunspot, whose name escapes me for the moment. We'll look it up in just a second, but that is actually showing some promise of actual, severe or moderate to severe solar storms. That is sunspot 3242. And that is emerging from around the limb of the sun. So that's going to come towards us, and hopefully it's going to have a nice big old sneeze, throw a whole bunch of solar boogers towards us, and we're going to get another absolute kick-ass auroral display. So fingers crossed, and cameras at the ready. So certainly myself and a few colleagues will be ready to go if the need arises. We'll just chuck everything into the car and head down as far south as we can go without cleaning up any kangaroos. But certainly that is one to watch out for. But these fantastic images that we're showing you here of the sunspot numbers and the ultraviolet images are courtesy of NASA's SOHO satellite, SDO, Solar Dynamic Observatory. You can get all this information on spaceweather.com, so I highly recommend going on there and checking it out. But from our point of view, let's see what our rig can do. Now, it's nowhere near as good as the SDO, because the SDO is like a few $1 billion worth, but from our ground-based telescopes, this is what we're hoping to bring you for the day of the eclipse. So what we're seeing here is the white light image from the William Optics, and of course we can see the sunspots around the 9, 10 and 11 o'clock position, and also the 7 o'clock position as well. But there's a few others scattered around. But that is our white light image, and what we're going to do is we'll be casting between this and our hydrogen alpha image. So just a little bit more about this image here is this is the photosphere, so the surface of the sun. This is the photos meaning light in Greek, sphere, of course, sphere. So the photosphere is the surface of the sun, and this is where we see something called solar granulation. It is the bubbling surface of the sun where the heat energies are transported to the surface via something called convection. And the sunspots are caused by magnetic fields that have become entangled below the surface and have now burst forth up through those bubbles and caused cool spots. And like I said last week, cool spots are relative because, well, the dark spot of the sunspot, the umbra, has a surface temperature around 1800 to 2000 degrees, and the surrounding area, the penumbra, is around 3000, 4000 degrees. The surface temperature of the sun itself is around 5500 degrees, and because it's hotter, it is brighter, and it makes those cooler sunspot areas appear darker. So let's switch over to the H-alpha image now, and it should be in the same orientation. Here we go. Here we go, just have to make a couple of little adjustments. Nearly there. And, yep, so there we go, beautiful, look at that. Now we can actually start to see a different part of the solar surface. It's the upper part, the sort of the atmosphere just above the surface of the photosphere. It's called the chromosphere. And of course the chromosphere is far more dynamic. This is where those magnetic fields really cause the solar plasma to flow along those magnetic field lines, and we can see there's so much more detail. We can see those long thin strands, which are called filaments. They are like upper level clouds on the surface, and of course they're darker because they're cooler. We also have these other lighter areas called plage, and as I mentioned last week, the plage is French for beach. But of course it's not a beach you want to go swimming or go even sunbaking on, because you'll just be, well, incinerated and vaporized. So they are active regions on the sun, and they are usually associated with sunspot clusters and sunspot groups. So we can see a number of them there. We can see this curious little region just at the top, which appears to be probably another active region just coming up over the top, but we can also see some prominences off the limb. So we've purposely overexposed the disk of the sun, and we're going to zoom in on them and just have a quick look up. So Mitch is going to weave his magic. There we go. and we can actually start to see those solar prominences. Now, normally in white light, that is invisible to us, but with the hydrogen alpha telescope, the Coronado, it enables us to see this these prominences. So the Coronado telescope essentially just filters out all other wavelengths of light except for hydrogen alpha. And hydrogen alpha is associated with the chromosphere, and of course this filters out all the other bits of light and just allows all the stuff from the chromosphere to come through to the camera, so we get these amazing views. And considering that the telescope has only got a 60mm aperture, it does a pretty darn good job, and also the camera as well. So Mitch has brought in his own personal camera. So what was that? So yes, Mitch was just informing me that prominence that we're observing currently, you could stack up about 3 to 4 Earths high. So they have pretty large structures. They are pretty darn big. And also, to give you a bit of context into the size of the solar disk, well, you could line up the Earth about 109 times across its equator, and if it was hollow like a giant piggy bank, you could stuff in a little over 1 million Earths inside the Sun's spatial volume. So it is a pretty big thing. Oh, there we go. We've got another prominence just off the limb there. Oh, 2. Okay. There's about 2 Earths stacked high. And we're just going to do a slow circle of the solar disk. We can still see a few very low ones there, but not much else to report. Oh, looks like a bit of a hoop there, just on that one there. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. You keep weaving your magic, Mitch. This is looking good. Alrighty. Tell you what, I'm just going to quickly check up on the Facebook to see if anyone's asking any questions, because you're probably feverishly asking questions, and we're ignoring you. We're not ignoring you, it's just we're not looking. So, ignoring you. Anyway, here we go. Let's, where are we at? Gravity Discovery Center. There we go. I'll make sure I turn it down so I don't get horrible feedback going on. Oh, we got 7 people working. Oh, 1 comment. Here we go. What's the comment? Go away. No. Oh, from Michelle. That's pretty amazing. Hey, Tim. How you doing? Oh, yep. So at least we've got a couple of people watching, and a lot of people will probably watch the playback, which is perfectly fine as well. So, while I've got you... Oh, we've got 9 people now watching. Fantastic. So, one thing that I do want to remind people of is that coming up this month on the 17th and 18th, so Friday and Saturday night, is we have our Jinjin Dark Sky Star Party. That is our 2nd year running it, and we're hoping to make this a regular thing. So the Jinjin Dark Sky Star Party is there to showcase the beautiful dark skies that we have here at the Gravity Discovery Centre and in the Shire of Jinjin. And we encourage people to come up and stay for the 2 nights. So bring your tent, bring your swag, and camp out under the stars and enjoy the gorgeous night sky. We're going to be camping at the Near Gabby campgrounds, which is about 12 kilometres to the northwest of the GDC Centre. So the Friday evening, I think we're actually going to have Noel Nanup. So he's going to be coming up on the Friday evening and telling stories from the Noongar perspective about the night sky around a campfire. And in the meantime, we'll have telescopes set up, and also bring your own telescopes. BYO telescopes, bring your own binoculars, bring your own astrophotography gear or your cameras, and certainly bring your own eyes, because you'd hate to borrow and lose somebody else's. But come along and stay for the night or 2 nights. And also during the day, on the Saturday day at the Gravity Discovery Centre, we're going to have special talks in our cosmology gallery. We'll have solar viewing sessions. We'll have tours of the Zadko research facility. So it's all going to happen here on the Saturday, and then the Saturday night, head back up to Near Gabby, camp out again under the stars, and then Sunday pack up and go home with some fantastic memories. So look up on our Facebook page and also our website for more details about the Jinjin Dark Sky Star Party at the Near Gabby campgrounds. If you've got any questions, just fire us a message or fire us an email. We'll gladly answer it for you. So look forward to seeing you there. And the bigger we make it, the better it'll be for the next coming years. Anywho, rightio. So I reckon I've yammered on long enough. So I reckon I might bid everyone a fond farewell and enjoy the rest of your long weekend. We have a night tonight here at the GDC. It's one of our self-guided tours. We're expecting about, I don't know, 70, 80 people. So they're going to rock up and they're going to guide themselves around the centres and the cosmology gallery and laser tours and through the observatory. Of course, staff will be there. We're not just going to just hide around the back, smoking durries and having beers. We'll be here to make sure everyone's okay. But if you felt like doing something tonight, just give us a call, make a booking and come on up, because we still have places available. But until then, as is customary for my all usual farewell, so clear skies, hail Sagan, and we'll see you next